They finally did it. Now, mind you, a lot of things didn't go their way, and they haven't been going their way this whole year. I know these teams are in trade talks this whole last couple of months, and in a couple of days, we'll see what's going to happen. But before we get into all that, first of all, I want to thank you guys for 1,040 subs. I know it might not seem like a big deal, but to me, it is a big deal. This was my goal for January. I wanted to hit 1,040, and you guys really showed up and did it for me, and especially like the last two videos been doing bad, and you know, I really do appreciate it. I've been spending a lot of time working on these videos with school and work and so on and so forth, and the fact that you guys come out here and support it almost makes me feel like that I have to get out a video every day or almost every other day if possible. And I just want to appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the times, every like that you guys give me, all the times you've liked, commented, and for every single sub. I appreciate y'all. Welcome to the locker room, and let's move on with the video. The Suns went up against the Warriors yesterday, and this was a game that I thought was going to be bad. Honestly, I thought the Suns were going to come here and really get smoked, but luckily for them, Draymond Green wasn't playing. Jonathan Kuminga obviously isn't playing, and the Suns really came out here and did whatever they wanted with the Warriors, which is surprising because when you're watching two teams that are bad, when you're watching two teams that are completely garbage go up against each other, you can see how bad that both teams are. But if one team is absolutely beating the other team like yesterday, you're kind of like, okay, this team is winning, but by how much? Because honestly, you can tell that these two teams deserve to be in the seedings that they are right now. You can tell that both of these teams have no continuity, have no chemistry, and honestly deserve to be exactly at the 8, 9, and 10 seed, which they are at right now. Because watching these two teams play yesterday, in my opinion, was really bad. It's just the fact that Steph Curry was guarded really well by the point guard Jones for the Suns, and he was also had an off night, and then he was also tired because they played 3 games in 4 nights. And then you consider the fact that Draymond Green wasn't playing, as I said before, that really hurts the Warriors. And for the Suns, Devin Booker really came out to play. I don't know if it's because he wasn't voted as an all-star. I don't know why he now decided to turn up, but he came out there, put up like 9 points in the first quarter, ended the first half with like 17, ended the game with like 30-something points, also put up 11 assists. And mind you, the Suns were up by 20 points at a certain point in this game. I think it was the third quarter, without Kevin Durant actually having an insane performance offensively. KD came out on fire too. Like, he came out first quarter, had like 11 points or 10 points. No, 10 points in the first quarter. Then he doesn't score until the third quarter, like the last minute and a half of the third quarter. He puts up 3 threes, and this was very important because the Warriors were starting to get it going. They hit 3 threes too going into the fourth quarter and the last minute and a half of the third, and Steph Curry wasn't even on the court. So to really combat that and make sure that the Suns don't go into the fourth quarter in a 9-point lead and instead of a 19-point lead, he really turned up, and it was very important. These were the only other points he scored out of the first quarter. He came out here, scored when he was needed to, and he was talking a lot of shit to everybody in that arena. Even Gary Payton, the older one, the OG Gary Payton, he was talking shit too, and it was a very good environment. Luckily, the Suns won because I was really scared the Suns are going to go in here and be 24 and 23. But luckily, they came in here and they're 25 and 22 now, and hopefully they could string together a couple of wins. They have won 9 out of their last 12 games. They have won 8 out of their last 11 before this game, and they look like they're playing better. Nick Richards obviously is a huge difference maker for the Suns team. Bradley Beal yesterday played good. I still don't know what's going to happen with the Suns team. If you're not going to trade for Jimmy Butler, trade Nurkic and a couple of picks and get something. You know, do something this couple of days before the deadline. Then we have the Spurs going up against the Bucks, and this was a rematch of a couple of weeks ago, and the Spurs came out here, and you can tell they came out here with a mission. Honestly, during the first quarter, I was able to tell that eventually one team was going to turn it up, and it didn't feel like it was going to be the Bucks. The Bucks felt like they already made up in their mind that they're better than the Spurs and that they're going to come out here, play their game, and eventually the Spurs are going to fold to them. And it's just a matter of fact of, are you going to miss shots or make shots? But the Spurs really came out here playing their hardest. They came out here straight up just pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes, and it was straight defense, offense, forcing turnovers. Everything was going for them, and they went up really in the third quarter. In the third quarter, this was the Spurs quarter. They took advantage of the Bucks this quarter. They turned them over a couple of times. They scored efficiently this quarter. They really performed at a very, very high level, and Victor Wembanyama was actually useful offensively in terms of his scoring in the second half, and it didn't fade away. And Giannis still put up his points of 35, and he could have still kept going if the Bucks didn't get blown out. But I also think Giannis wasn't as dominant, and that is credit to the Spurs defense as well. Part of it is Giannis, as it always is, but part of it is the other team's defense, and the Spurs really did a great job. Victor Wembanyama with his blocks, and everybody else played defense. Even Vassell had a couple of blocks in that third quarter. I mean, they really, really turned up in the third quarter, and they just went insane on this Bucks team. Damian Lillard also had a 20-point-something game. Chris Middleton was unstoppable for the most part. I mean, he was like, I think it was 5 for 5 or 8 for 8 until he finally missed a shot late third quarter or sometime in the fourth, and it was like they should have just played through him more, because he looked like he was out there to play. He looked like it was going to be his night, and the Bucks just needed to give him some time and give him some touches and some more shots, because if you would have played through Chris Middleton yesterday on the night where he got it going, I feel like this Bucks team could have been way better, and you probably could have thrown the Spurs defense off, but that's not what happened, and the Spurs overall came out here and won. And while we're speaking about the Spurs, let's speak about the fact that De'Aaron Fox wants to go to the Spurs to play with Victor Wembanyama. Now, for me, honestly, a De'Aaron Fox-Victor Wembanyama matchup, like, combination is an insane combination. Like, the fact that Victor Wembanyama can shoot threes, he could go to the basket, he could dunk, he could dribble, he could do everything he wants on the court. De'Aaron Fox is one of the fastest, if not the fastest person in the league, and he's also a point guard. He could play make, he can oversee stuff, he can create shots for Victor Wembanyama. De'Aaron Fox is going to make this team run. It's going to be so hard to guard Victor Wembanyama and Fox and everybody else on this team. Then you start to consider the fact, like, what will the Spurs even give up for De'Aaron Fox? Do they even want to give up anything for De'Aaron Fox? Do they even want De'Aaron Fox? Are they trying to rush the process? Is De'Aaron Fox even going to help this team? What is going to be the plan moving forward? And honestly, I think that the Spurs are not worried too much about De'Aaron Fox. If they have to give up a lot, they're not going to do it. But if they only have to give up like a 1 or 2 players and some picks, maybe, then it's like, okay, fine, they'll do it, and Fox will be in a better place. Now about the Kings. If you trade De'Aaron Fox, right, and especially if you trade him to the Spurs, which is a Western Conference team, what will you do with the rest of the guys on your team? What will you do with a Sabonis, with a DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, so on and so forth? What will you do with all these guys? Because your team now has to be completely removed and just separated, and everybody needs to go their own way. Then we start talking about the fact of, is De'Aaron Fox even going to get traded by February 6th, this Thursday's deadline? Personally, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to. Just like Jimmy Butler, I don't know if he's going to either. But something's going to happen. And then we had the Pelicans go up against the Celtics. And this game, honestly, nice game, I guess. It was a good game. It shouldn't have been a good game. The Celtics should have came out here and smoked them. The Pelicans have been playing really bad this year. Trey Murphy had like 40 points. Celtics 118 to 116. And then you start really feeling bad for somebody like a DeJounte Murray who just torn his Achilles and is going to be out for the remaining of the year. And it's like, damn, like nights like this where your team is playing good, where you think you might start getting your confidence and start pushing for like that play-in spot or whatever, you go down like this, it really, really hurts the team, and it makes you feel bad for anybody with like an Achilles injury, a meniscus tear, anything like that. It's just so hard to get over and it's so hard to heal from. And then it's like a whole year of you not being able to play and do the thing that you love. But the great thing is that like a lot of guys are coming back the same, better, or somewhat of a close version to themselves now than ever before, due to technology and health and all these things that doctors have developed. And you're not as scared anymore, like, is his career over? But like, it's definitely the end of the season for him, which sucks. But anyways, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share this. We'll talk with E. Safety.